My husband is getting me my drink.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
My husband's out of town.
Yeah.
And I had to make my own drink.
Pooey.
Okay. Are you ready?
Yep.
Boo bitches. Welcome to episode 71, C3 Crystals, Cauldrons, and Cocktails. I'm River.
And I'm Wren.
I waited till she took a drink before I said that. And today we're going to talk about doppelgangers and changelings.
Yes.
First, though, what is our cocktail of the day? So we are very early in February for this podcast. I'm reminded of the correspondences to February, which are pinks and roses and pink quartz. So I wanted something pink. So cranberry juice is a great mixer and is associated with protection, positive energy, courage, passion, determination, goals, and action, all of which is perfect for February as the light's getting stronger and we're beginning to awaken from our winter's rest. Mm-hmm. So all of that to say that tonight's drink is the Radiant Rapture. My mouth is watering and I'm sitting here drinking one. So it is a tequila drink. And first you have to make your own apple cinnamon tequila. Now that can take up to 7 days. And I haven't gone to a store to see if you can buy an apple cinnamon tequila. They may have those out there. So if so, then you don't have to wait 7 days to have this drink. Mm-hmm. But otherwise you can make your own cinnamon apple infused tequila. And then once you have that, you use that tequila, cranberry juice, some triple sec and lime, and it is lovely. Mm-hmm. Tequila is very dangerous, so I don't drink it super often. Mm-hmm. Turns me into a wild child, but it is really yummy. I know. It
turns you into a wild child? You're already one.
You're already a wild child. Okay, you're not wrong. So I'll have to do a TikTok on how to make the infused tequila and this drink. That would be fun.
Yeah, you guys should keep up with our TikToks because we post a TikTok every day and it's fun drinks, recipes that we do. I know a couple weeks ago, off the top of my head, we did like a simmer pot. We did one of my favorites, which was the black magic,
We do tarot draws. We do. Yeah. I mean, it's fun. Yeah.
It's so much fun. Spells. We do demonstrations of spells. Mm-hmm. It's just, it's a lot of fun. Y'all should check us out.
Yeah. Check out our TikTok. Mm-hmm. All right. At any rate, doppelgangers. So what is a doppelganger? Doppelganger, and I kind of love that word. It's got the A with the two little dots over it, which always reminds me of the Hobbit alphabet. Yeah. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Anyway. It is a German word that literally translates into double walker. In the general sense, this term is widely used to mean someone who physically resembles you, but is not related to you. You know, you've heard people say, oh, you've got a twin out there. I saw someone. That's a doppelganger.
Isn't there a saying that if you meet your doppelganger, like either you or a loved one will die or something?
Yes. I've got all kinds of information about that. It's creepy.
Okay.
So to put it simply, a doppelganger is a biologically related lookalike. Someone who is not genetically connected to you or your family, yet they have oddly similar physical features. Now, during research for this, I did come across some articles that said your doppelgangers probably do share some kind of genetic background with you.
Oh.
I mean, you go back far enough and we're all kind of related. Mm-hmm. So it just happens that those genes that make you look like you also filtered into where, them to make them look like them. That's the scientific thought of it anyway.
See, there was a trend going, I don't know if it's like a trend anymore or, on TikTok where it's the AI portrait thing where like you have like your face and you just show your face and it creates an AI version of you.
Oh, I haven't seen that
like
one
a
yet.
Cartoon version type, but it's not cartoon. Like it's like a realism cartoon. Okay. And I did it so many times, but it just can't get my face right. And so many people are like, yeah, it looks exactly like you, but like you think it doesn't because we all have like facial dysmorphia where we don't actually know what we look like. But it's weird because I show my husband and I'm like, does this look like me? And he's like, no. And I show his family or my family. I'm like, does this look like me? And they're like, no. And so I haven't been able to get a right image of me. And I'm like, so if I even bumped into my doppelganger, I wouldn't even know what they look like. See, like I wouldn't know if that's what I look like. That's what I meant. Like, yeah.
I've had people tell me, oh, you look just like her. Like Laura Dern. You remember her? She was she's old now, but in the those dinosaur movies. Jesus, I can never remember the name.
Oh, Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park. Laura Dern. People say I look just like her, and I just don't see
Who
it.
Who is Laura Dern?
She's the blonde. And the very first one, the blonde who is with, she's an archaeologist.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I can see it. I can see it. I can see it. It's not 100% you, right? Yeah. But I can see it. I can see the similarities.
I've had people in college come up to me and say, oh, are you related to Laura Dern? It's just the strangest thing.
Now, anyway. let me wait. There are some like throughout school, like I've been in school for a long time. There were people who are like, oh, you look exactly like, I can't remember her name. And the old, I say old because it is old, Spider-Man movies. The person who plays, Kirsten Dunst. People say,
really? I can actually kind of see that.
And I don't see it at all.
When you do your hair red, which you do fairly often, because Kirsten Dunst in that movie was a redhead.
Yeah.
I can see that.
But I just don't see it at all. Like, I think maybe it's my cheeks because like my cheeks have like that harsh line when she smiles, like down from your nose down to like the corners of your mouth, like below your eyes. Like she has strong cheeks, which I think I have strong cheeks as well. But
you have beautiful cheekbones.
But yeah, thank you.
Whatever, River.
But any other way that I look at Kirsten Dunst, I'm like, I just don't see it.
Yeah, maybe only that character. It's so funny that actors look so different. I mean, it's not just the makeup and all of that. Mm-hmm. I really believe that they have, we did that episode on beauty magic. There is really a glamour or something going on when actors turn into their characters.
Yeah.
They really do change.
Turn into their characters.
Yeah, they really do.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm sitting here now looking at pictures of her and I'm like, I just don't see it. But I do see where you could look like that.
Laura Dern.
Like I could see it. Like y'all have very similar, facial like head shape, and I think y'all's
body type actually
your noses are very similar as well, so it's very I don't know. Anyway, okay, so in traditional folklore, doppelganger is a malicious or evil character having no shadow or reflection. It troubles and harms its counterpart by putting bad thoughts and ideas into his or her head. In some cultures, seeing one's doppelganger is bad luck and often the sign of serious illness or approaching death. Yeah.
Now, back in the day, before they had modern medicine, it could be that people thought schizophrenics or multiple personality disorder people were, quote, doppelgangers because of the way they behaved. Mm-hmm. But, I don't know. All right. So a changeling is a form of doppelganger in that it is thought to be a fairy that is put in place of a stolen child, and it looks like that child. It's like a replica of that child, but it's not the actual child. The child's been kidnapped. Mm-hmm. So many mystics believe that doppelgangers are supernatural creatures and that their appearance in someone's life is almost never a good thing. Mm-hmm. They are generally considered omens of bad luck or even signs of impending death. A doppelganger seen by a person's relative or friends is said to signify that illness or danger would befall that person, while seeing your own doppelganger said to be an omen of death.
Okay. I'm sorry. Every single time you say doppelganger, I just think of Vampire Diaries.
Oh, yeah. It's been forever since I've watched that. But yeah there were doppelgangers in that. Yeah.
A lot.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like everybody in that show had a doppelganger.
Some mythology, which, as we know, myths often come from truth, suggests that doppelgangers might attempt to provide advice to the person they shadow, but that this advice can be misleading or malicious. They may also attempt to plant sinister ideas in their victim's head or cause them confusion. For this reason, people were advised to avoid communicating with their own doppelganger at all costs, which, you know how a lot of, not a lot, but some mentally ill people hear voices in their head and they see things. I could see where the idea of doppelgangers might have come from. You know, this person that's me, you know, you have the good conscience and the bad conscience, the devil on your shoulder and the angel on your shoulder. And I can just see where a doppelganger could be blamed for, you know, he told me to do it. It's me. It's my own face. I have to trust myself, and it's telling me to do whatever.
Yeah.
So the folklore and history about doppelgangers is very interesting. So in Irish folklore, there are references to the fetch, FETCH, which is an apparition that is a replica of a living person in every other way, but it doesn't cast a shadow.
Oh, okay.
So in centuries past, the people from the Orkney Islands, I think in Ireland, feared fairies and called them trows, TROWS. They were depicted as ugly, impish little creatures whose children were always sickly. So pregnant women had to be carefully guarded from the trows, who would steal the healthy human babies and replace them with exact replicas of the children, which the belief was that these replicas would fall sick and then die young. So they were trying to enhance their own genetics by replacing a sickly fairy child with a healthy human child and leaving their sickly child in the place, but they made it somehow look exactly the same. And this is the way I've always thought about doppelgangers and changelings. I mean, those two words are not exactly the same, but they are similar. And that's the way I've always thought about doppelgangers, is that, you know, replaced at birth type thing.
See, that's the only thing that I remember hearing about that. Like, I have a vague memory of learning that, and you just like brought it out from the depths of my brain.
Yeah. And did you know that back in the day, and this is so sad, when a child was ill or a baby was born ill or deformed, they all just assumed, oh, well, it's a changeling. So they would return it to the fairies and leave it out in the forest to die.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Isn't that awful?
Oh.
A changeling would mimic the child's appearance and would look indistinguishable from that child. However, though, as time went on, the changeling would inevitably start exhibiting some physical or mental deformities believed to be the result of the changeling struggling to imitate the human form, because they aren't human. They're actually fairies.
Oh. So you know, wait, what would those deformities, like mental or physical deformities, be? Like,
I mean, I think that back in the day before modern, why are you muted?
There's construction going on downstairs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So I'm trying to not
freak me out. Go ahead and mute if you need to. So I think back in the day when they didn't have modern understanding of medicine and disabilities and that kind of thing, it was very easy to blame, you know, I couldn't possibly have a deformed child, so it must be a changeling. It must be, something evil that it couldn't be mine. They've taken my child. And, so mental disabilities, I would imagine, could be anything from any mental illness back in the day. It could be children who are prone to violence or unable to handle their emotions, which parents weren't always the best back then either. They're not the best always in today's world either.
No, that's valid. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my thought. But the child would be taken by the fairies for one of three reasons. Number one was to act as a servant. Number two, for the fairies to receive the love of a human child, because fairies love to have love. Or for malice and revenge. So perhaps that family had wronged the fairies and it was to hurt the family. Most of the time, the exchange was made with a fairy change, but occasionally a fairy baby, but occasionally an elderly fairy would be swapped, either so that it could live out its life in the comfort and care of a human, or so that it would just die.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So we're trying to get rid of our old fairies. Let's pawn it off on the humans.
Yeah.
Or in the alternative, let's let humans dote on it until he dies.
Yeah. Yeah.
Often a baby might become ill or take on a strange appearance, or a person might be left unable to move their limbs, which is called fairy struck. And if that happened, then the local people would begin to suspect fairy work. It just is so sad back then, because anything that went wrong, you're a witch, or, you're a changeling.
Yeah.
You could never, if you had, what if you were, I don't know, what if you did have some kind of mental illness that you were anxious, you just needed what we have now as medication or therapy of some kind, and they just didn't have it back then. And so, you were fairy struck. So, off with your head,
Yeah. It's funny because I always talk about TikTok, but it's like, it's like those, it's like dry humor or dark humor, I suppose, where it's like a scenario where this woman is trying to, her husband's not listening to her, whatever the reason is. And he's like, oh, so you're a witch. I don't want to do that. And it's like, oh, what was that? You're a witch? And they're like, no, like, never mind, I'll do it. It's just like that joke, but it's true. That was some people's truth.
Well, I mean, a lot of the stories about doppelgangers and changelings, it wasn't just the fairies, it was witches that were blamed. Witches get the brunt of it too.
Yeah.
So doppelgangers they've also been featured in fiction forever. Greek mythology, and you probably know this because I know you had to study Greek stuff. Narcissus fell in love with himself, with his own reflection. That's, he looked into the pond and saw his reflection and fell in love with it, and ended up turning into, what did they turn him into? Pussy willows or something? I can't remember.
It was something weird, I want to say like a sheep, but it wasn't. It was a cat. It was a sheep. It was something.
A cat tail. It was plant. Those plants that hang on the edge of the water and they bow over the water. That's why. Something. Anyway, that's, he fell in love with his other self, so to speak. And Edgar Allan Poe, he wrote William Wilson. And William meets a boy at his boarding school who is his exact double, and who copies his every mannerism. Oh. And that boy pursues William throughout his life as he dabbles in darker and darker vices. And then, maddened by his presence, William stabs him at a masked ball, only to find his own body bleeding.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, I think that's a very Stephen King type thing. Which, I think Stephen King got a lot from Edgar Allan Poe. But the whole, in fiction, there's a whole bunch of he's stabbing himself, and he's stabbing his other, and they bleed. There's a whole bunch of that. There's a term for it. I don't I don't remember what it is, but anyway, there is a lot. The concept of good and evil twin is noted as far back as the 5th century BC in an ancient Iranian religion called Zoroastrianism.
Okay.
The two primal spirits were the sons of time and represented by darkness and light. I mean, that's doppelgangers are opposites. So I can see a whole bunch of the light and dark ideology.
You brought up like the concept of good and evil twin, but like it's not like twins are classified as doppelgangers,
No,
like so
because they're genetically related, obviously.
Okay. That was my question. Okay.
And the ancient Egyptians believed in the existence of a Ka, Ka, or a double spirit. And this spirit twin allegedly had the same memories as the original individual. The Ka is thought of as the spiritual double born in everyone. And when someone dies, their spiritual double lives on as long as they have somewhere to live, usually in that person's body. This is why Egyptians mummified their dead.
Yeah. I knew all this stuff. I love this stuff.
You're a big Egyptian fan. If they kept the body from decomposing, that meant that spiritual double had somewhere to live. But if the body decayed, the spiritual double would die and the deceased would lose their chance at eternal life. In an Egyptian version of the Trojan War story, a spirit double was sent instead of Helen, Helen of Troy. And the Ka was such a perfect replication of Helen that it fooled everybody, and the war was actually averted in that story, in the Egyptian story.
Okay.
A Native American belief apparently incorporates twins, the Hopi twins, and in their cosmology, they believed the afterlife mirrored the land of the living. So the thought is that a doppelganger is basically your evil double from the underworld. So there's an upper world and an underworld. And the good people, quote, good people lived in the upper world and the evil people in the underworld. And this Hopi legend refers to the twins, that child of the sun and the child of water. And it was allegedly believed that whatever is happening in the upper world is the opposite of what is happening in the underworld.
So this is on topic but off topic of the doppelgangers type, but it's on topic with the upper world and the lower world. Have you seen those conspiracy theories about how we are living on top of other civilizations that are in the planet, or that we are being like, we are a bigger planet type of vibe, but we are shelled in by walls that we can't get past?
We should do a topic on that. I've never heard of that.
I don't know how it would pertain to witchiness, but when you say the Native American beliefs and legends, I feel like they were exposed to more than what we are now. And
I think legends and history all pertain to witchcraft, because we all learn from what has been. And, the world, the way it is now, a lot of the mindset is get up, go to work, come home, go to bed. But there's so much more out there. And I think legends are a part of our history, and that might be a witchy. I don't know. You all let us know. Do you think that would be a witchy type topic to go down? Legends and
I would love to.
Mythology.
This one's just so cool because it's like there's like a more advanced civilization that lives with inside the earth or on the exterior walls of where we are, and the underworld and upper world has had to come from somewhere, right? Like that idea of outside of religion where you die and blah blah blah.
Even in religion, there's upper, you've got heaven, which is supposed to be up, and hell, which is supposed to be lower.
So it's just like, it's very interesting because I like to theorize and play into these conspiracies that, what if that is possible? And there are actual like doppelgangers that like there's like a like an alternate universe type of thing. Yeah, now I'm spiraling, but
okay, maybe we should do an extra episode a month about this kind of thing that's not necessarily witchy, but kind of mystical.
Oh yeah, I would love that. Conspiracy.
Yeah. Y'all let us know what y'all think. We could do conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
We could go down that rabbit hole.
Like a episode a month of conspiracies outside of
that would be
it
cool.
would pertain to witchiness, but
or at least mysticism or supernaturalness.
Yeah. There's always something to learn in everything, whether it's conspiracy or not. Okay, sorry. Yes, let us know. Continue.
So the Norse history, Vikings, that kind of thing. I
love Norse.
Me too. They have a ghostly double that is said to perform actions of a person right before that person does. The spirit will often smell or sound like or have the same voice as the original person. The Norse believed a doppelganger is essentially a ghostly double of you who lived before you. They called it the Vardager or Vardager. I'm not sure how to pronounce words, but the Vardager. And the stories of the Vardager describe incidents that are basically deja vu in reverse. Oh. Yeah, where a spirit with the subject's footsteps, voice, scent, or appearance and overall demeanor precedes them in a location or activity, resulting in witnesses believing that they have seen or heard that person before that person actually comes.
Okay, I've actually had this.
Really?
Where okay, it was weird because I was in kindergarten. How old is that? 6?
5?
5, 6. 5 or 6.
I think 6 is first grade. I don't know. Anyway, long time ago. Okay, not that long ago. You're not super old.
There's also wow. But we also have some construction going on, and they decide to go way right as I'm talking. I don't know if you can hear any of it. I can hear it all.
I can't really hear it.
It's literally directly below. So if you guys hear anything like that, I'm trying to mute whenever, but
yeah.
But I was talking and it was aggressive. Anyways, I was 5 or 6 and I got onto the bus. It was my bus stop and I was on the end of the bus route, where I was picked up later, but dropped off later. And this girl gets on the bus and she's my age. And I knew her name immediately. Like she got on the bus and I was like, oh, and I said her name and she looked at me and she was like, I don't know you. And it was just
really
like the weirdest thing. She's like, I have no idea who you are, but I knew her. I was like, oh, like, let's say her name was Sarah. I was like, oh, hey, Sarah. Like, I was like, Sarah. And she had no idea who I was, but I knew her before anything. So it's like, huh?
Interesting.
Like, I still to this day don't know how or why.
That's bizarre.
Yeah.
So it was also believed that these supernatural creatures were afraid of iron. And I think that's a common thing that a lot of us have heard. Parents used to keep some kind of iron items above or near the cradle of unbaptized children until they were able to get baptized, because baptism couldn't happen immediately. So until the baptism could happen, they would keep iron of some kind near the cradle to prevent them from getting kidnapped by, I guess, fairies. These iron items could be a knife or scissors. Okay. Also, in Sweden, they had an unbaptized infant belief too. They believed that it was important to keep a fire lit in the room where a baby was, and that the water used for bathing the child must not be thrown away.
So what do you do with the water?
I guess until the baby gets baptized, you just keep it in the tub. Whether you have to use it again or if it just sits there, I don't know.
Or can you just, like, if you don't throw it away, quote unquote, but you use it to water your plants?
I don't think you can do anything with it until the baby's baptized.
Okay.
But I don't know. That's an odd thing. I don't know. So according to Supernatural Magazine, which I didn't know there was a supernatural magazine until I found it doing my research.
Mm-hmm.
There is one more theory that a doppelganger could represent a parallel universe, which would be a great topic for our
love parallel universe
in which everything in this world that we're in is also in another dimension, and that seeing this doppelganger could be a moment when we're able to witness that other dimension.
Okay.
So this Columbia University physicist, Brian Greene, he wrote a book called The Hidden Reality, Parallel Universes and the Deep Laws of the Cosmos. And he said, all of us have doppelgangers because there are parallel universes. And every now and then the veils between those universes thin enough that we are in each other's universes.
But wouldn't that mean, I am already picking holes through this, guys.
I know.
I'm so sorry. But if that means that in the alternate dimension, if the veil, is thin, wouldn't that mean that that's us?
Well, I mean, it's another us.
It's another us. So wouldn't they have like the same name instead of like being like quote unquote
unrelated? I see.
Yeah. So like we are the same, in that like we are probably made from the same people in parallel universes.
Maybe that's how you knew Sarah, is because the veil had thinned and you had met Sarah before. And now they're separate again. And she's like, I don't know who you are because I'm the Sarah from this world, not the Sarah from the other world,
But let's say in a sense you meet yourself, but that's not a doppelganger to me because doppelgangers are, again, not related. Well, you don't have the same flesh and blood. They just look like you. But that in the sense, if the parallel universe thing, that is you just with different experiences.
I have some stories. I have, quote, real accounts of doppelgangers.
Okay.
And the most famous one, and I had no idea about this until I was doing this research, is from former President Abraham Lincoln.
Mm.
Is that not the coolest thing? Okay. So he claims to have seen his doppelganger reflected in a mirror on the night he was first elected into office.
Okay.
He said, looking in that glass, I saw myself reflected nearly at full length, but my face, I noticed I had two separate distinct images. The tip of the nose of one about 3 inches from the tip of the other. I was a little bothered, but the illusion vanished. And he told this to his friend, who was a journalist, Noah Brooks, who then wrote it in a book.
Wow, that's not a friend.
Right? And then he said, on lying down again, I saw it a second time, plainer if possible than before. And then I noticed that one of the faces was a little paler, say 5 shades than the other. So while Lincoln thought this was just a strange happenstance, his wife was like, oh boy, she interpreted it as an omen of tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And she read the vision to say that he would indeed be elected to a second term of office, hence his visage being doubled on the night of his election.
Mm-hmm.
But that the sickly, ghastly appearance of his double signified that he wouldn't live through his second term. And of course, both of those turned out to be true.
That didn't age well, did it?
Right? Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Okay. So while many reports of doppelganger sightings involve a person seeing his or her own double, there's a case of Emily Sage. Her doppelganger was apparently visible to everybody except herself. She never saw it. She was a school teacher in Latvia in the mid-1800s. And she was a good teacher. She was well liked, but she had this odd track record of being fired. Like she had 18 different positions teaching in just 16 years. And then after hearing the reported accounts of supernatural twin entity that followed her about, this is why.
Mm-hmm.
So students at the school where she taught began to see 2 of her. As she wrote on the blackboard, a second her appeared in front of the class, mimicking the teacher's movements. And this is a quote. One evening, as Sage ate in the dining hall, Her double appeared again, mirroring her actions once more. At one point, it was even noted that her double sat down in a chair at the head of the classroom, staring straight toward the children, while the real woman was out in the school garden.
Oh.
While she apparently never saw her own double, it's reported that when the entity was present, the color would drain from her face, and overcome with fatigue, her movements would become listless. Eventually, the school let her go due to the disturbing presence of her double.
See, maybe it's not a double. Maybe it was like a unwanted attached entity.
I mean, it could have been, but it looked just like her. I mean, that's the definition of doppelganger.
I guess.
Mm. Now, Catherine the Great. Sorry, I was drinking my tequila. Woo! Catherine the Great, which I know you are a fan of. You watched that Netflix series. It was about Catherine the Great. I can't remember what it's called.
It's like a weird humor one. It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. Yeah.
Anyway, you love Catherine the Great. Anyway, she was otherwise known as the Empress of Russia throughout the 18th century. She was the longest ruling female leader in the country's history. And she had a haunting encounter with a doppelganger shortly before her death in 1796. According to reports, her servants woke her frantically one night, having seen her visage plain as day, sitting silently in her throne room. Confused, Catherine accompanied them back to her throne room, only to find her double sitting on the throne, plain as day. Oh. She reportedly ordered her servants to shoot the doppelganger, and then just a week later, she died of a stroke.
Oh.
I mean, but what happened was there a body when they shot it? Was there a body?
That I do not know.
Evaporate?
I don't know. And why did it? So if there was a body, like why that was a person ? So like,
right?
Why were they sitting on the throne?
How did they get to her throne? Because security.
I mean, if she looked like her, she could pass through security easily.
True.
And then sit on the throne.
Why would that?
Her servants knew themselves that wasn't her.
That's true. Yeah. They went and woke her real self up.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe they're the ones who put her to bed, or like I don't know.
And then they went and checked on her, and she's still in bed. And so,
wow.
I don't know. Bizarre. And she's a really cool woman. She was a really cool woman. Mm-hmm. Anyway, Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, a well-known German poet and politician, apparently encountered his double. This is bizarre. He saw himself riding on horseback home from spending time with his beloved future wife, but he was riding in the opposite direction on the same road. This is what he said. This is a quote. I saw, not with the eyes of the body, but with those of the mind, my own figure coming towards me on horseback on the same road, attired in a suit I had never worn. As soon as I shook myself out of this dream, the figure had entirely disappeared. So, although this encounter was brief, it was not forgotten. And 8 years later, he found himself riding on that same road to go see his lover, wearing the exact same clothing that he had seen his doppelganger wear years prior. And so he interpreted this as seeing an encounter with the doppelganger to glimpse a piece of his futures, a sighting of his future self, rather than a bad omen. So maybe you can see your future self. Maybe a doppelganger is not always a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that one.
Yeah, that's the only, yay, I saw my doppelganger, I'm going to live type thing.
Yeah.
So witchy thoughts. I wonder if maybe seeing doppelgangers might not be seeing someone who is astral projecting. Yeah, I as I was doing this research, I thought, there are those of us who, I'm not good at it. I haven't been able to attain it yet, but astral projection is a thing for witches. And so if you're projecting yourself somewhere else, then couldn't that explain the sighting of someone who looks like someone else, because it is someone else. They're just astral projecting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, know.
You might not see it yourself, that although, you have those experiences, those near-death experiences where you rise up and you see your own body.
Yeah, I've heard of them.
That's not the same thing as doppelganger, but I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's all we have on doppelgangers and changelings. We would love to hear your conspiracy theories about that as well. You can find us. Yeah, go ahead.
I mean, I just have many opinions.
Which is fun.
But they're not witchy related.
Well, I mean, we could do that once a month, non-witchy conspiracy theory thing. I think that would be so much fun. I think
that would be a lot of fun.
And then those people who aren't interested in that don't have to listen to that one episode.
Yeah, it's just that one episode, and you know what day it comes out on, and yeah.
And then those of you who love us because we're wonderful could listen to everything that we do.
Oh yeah, because we're so wonderful.
Oh Lord, just kidding, guys. Okay, you can find us at www.c3witchypodcast.com. And Wren has been working really hard on that website, you guys. It looks beautiful. She's done a great job.
I'm trying.
And there you'll find links to our episodes, links to all our social media, links to our merch. Speaking of, I have made a whole bunch more merch, and I'm ordering test subjects of those test items. And if they look good, we will be putting those up for sale as well. A lot more t-shirts and some wine cooler tumbler thingies. What are those things called? Tumblers?
Yeah, tumblers.
I do have a blanket that I've designed, but I don't, what do y'all think of blankets? Let us know.
Let us know what you guys want. And then also don't forget about our ads.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah. We have quote unquote ad links on our website as well. So don't be shy. And I know our ad was probably in this episode somewhere.
But yeah, for sure. Like Instacart. I know that was one of them. Go check it out. It really, I mean, I am lazy, but that's okay. It's not that we're lazy. It's just, especially us moms who have children, there is nothing wrong with using Instacart to bring you stuff when you just don't have time, or if you've got a kid who has a fever and you need shit, just call Instacart.
I don't have children.
but you can
I still use it.
That's right.
Because
you don't have to have kids.
I use it mostly because I have social anxiety really bad. And so sometimes my anxiety is just so bad I can't even go to the grocery store. So
it's just, I mean, it makes it so easy when I need something, and even if it's right down the road and I've got a sick kid, I'm like, I can't do it. You just Instacart will do it for you. It's wonderful. Anyway, so yeah, go to our website. We got links to our ads. Click on those. It helps us. It will help you, obviously. Also, I've put some more items up for sale on my Bats and Baubles website. It's www.batsandbaublesinc.etsy.com. I keep trying to put all kinds of witchy things up there. I'm going to do a TikTok showing you how I make a lot of my stuff. So that would be fun. If you like our podcast, please consider supporting us. You can find our Patreon button on the first page of our website, right when you log in. I mean, right when it pops up.
Yep.
Or you can go directly to www.patreon.com/C3witchypodcast. We offer patrons goodies for supporting us. We have 2 new supporters, and one has sent me his address so I can send him his tote bag. There is another one. If you want to give us your address, we'll send you your free tote bag as well. But yeah, become a patron and they're for free. I've got spell pages on there. We've got cocktail recipes. Wren's done some fun things on there too. So definitely come support us. And thank you to our existing patrons. You guys
Yes.
are amazing.
You guys are absolutely amazing.
Yeah, we could not do it without you. Check out our TikTok, our Instagram, our Facebook,
Twitter.
Yeah, I haven't gone on Twitter in a while.
It's okay.
That's all Wren right now.
It's okay.
I'm not very helpful on that right now.
It's all Wren's husband.
Yay, Wren's husband.
Yeah,
Woo!
yeah. Woo! But I really do emphasize TikTok because we've been doing so much, and we actually show like we have videos of our actual like putting together of our drinks and what you need, and we try to do it in a fun way where we display the table with witchy vibes and we have a really fun time doing them. So we hope that you guys have a fun time watching them.
I hope so. So we'll be back.
We'll be back.
And until then, stay witchy.
Woo.